Hello and everyone. So good evening and welcome to my video program. In fact, I'm going to discuss about a very important, nationally important topic today. I'm going to talk about Clean Sri Lanka project. As you all know, President Anura Kumara Dissanayake recently launched the program. In fact, on 1st of January 2025 as a national program, and it was like the flagship program of the Sri Lankan government starting their work for the new year. Now, I have actually analyzed the program using mainly project based on my project management expertise as well as strategic management perspective. So even though it's a political program, and still I have political reservations about the new project by Anura Kumara Dissanayake, but here my focus is only limited to the management or project management perspective, not political. That's one thing I want to highlight. There are many positive aspects of the program which we can kind of review if you look at the websites and the details in it, and it actually covers some important and useful domains. However, I'm not going to talk about positives because the government mission is already promoting the program. So I'm going to look at this from a critical point of view, mainly looking at the weaknesses. Secondly, I will not look at what's happening on the ground. Today, I'm actually recording this on 16th of January. I wrote this, originally I wrote this as a post in LinkedIn and Facebook on 10th January. By that time, you might have already seen some issues happening on the ground, particularly the resistance from the bus operators and three-wheeler drivers and people like them saying that this is not really people-friendly program. So I will not go into details or justifying or opposing them, but I look at this mainly from the project management design and conceptualization perspective. Implementation may have other challenges, but at this moment I will look at only how this has been designed and conceptualized as a national program. In order to do that, I have, in fact, there was a challenge because there was not enough material to refer, but I look at Anura Kumara Disanayake's speech on the launching day on 1st of January, and also the official website allocated for this. This is called www. Go to that Clean Sri Lanka.gov.lk. So those are my main references, in addition to some articles written on the newspaper. Yeah, so basically, this is kind of what I'm going to do today. And of course, as usual, these are, my points are valid for discussion, debate, and even criticism and disagreement. So I invite you to watch my video and then give you ideas. Basically, I have actually identified them as main 12 key negatives or key weaknesses of the program. There are many other, but I just want to highlight 12 of such weaknesses. As I mentioned, conceptual and design weaknesses. So I will repeat them. I will first read out them in short form and then explain a little bit details later. This video will, I think, go around 1 hour, so apologize for that, but I hope still this will be, referred in the future for like academic criticism or reference. First of all, first one is the name sounds. Name Clean Sri Lanka sounds fascist. The second one is the program is past oriented, not futuristic. Third one is building the nation is the real challenge, not the cleaning of Sri Lanka. Fourth one is cleaning as a non-relevant and non-critical work. Fifth one is lack of focus and poor definition of terminology in designing and introducing the program. Sixth one is poor selection for steering committee or presidential task force. Seventh one is scope is ultra virus, or it's beyond the scope of the president and the government. Eight, the program is not really a scientific base, and there's no scientific approach in designing the program. Ninth one is this program is not an inclusive one, but it's more divisive one, so it may divide the society. 10th one is more project management specific issue. The objectives of Smart Sri Lanka, objectives of Clean Sri Lanka are not smart. They are not smart objectives. 11th one is also project management related. People who studied project management should know what is triple constraint, or what are triple constraints of a project. And in this one also, it's not clear. Final one is also important one. This program has been launched as a top-down approach, which will have implication challenges. So these are main 12 key points I have highlighted as weaknesses of the Clean Sri Lanka program, project, initiative, a campaign, because it's also not very clear. We cannot exactly identify this as a project or a program, but I'll use this as mainly as a program for the convenience of the discussion. So let's go one by one so that you will understand what I mean in shortened forms. First of all, this name, Clean Sri Lanka, actually sounds fascist and racist. Why I say that? Because if you look at the history, world history, cleaning, cleansing, and purifying are all words used when they are used for a society or for to a larger population. Normally they refer about a pure form of community versus polluted one, so dirty one. So the best example is the Nazi Hitler's Germany, how Hitler model Germany and the enemies of Germany as communist Jews, as well as even Romas and all other non-Aryan Germans as dirty and polluting the society. So he carried a lot of campaigns of cleaning Germany from these dirty elements, and we all know what happened in the history and how destructive that for the humanity as well as for the entire world. So this is most, I would say, famous historical example. But not only that, there are many other examples in even in Asia. For example, in India, there's a even current kind of campaign of pure Hinduism or Hindutva doctrine, where the basic idea is India belongs to Hindus, and therefore the Muslims and other communities should be kind of discouraged or thrown out or things like that. Also, we have in East Asia now this anti-Rohingya campaign. There are a lot of refugees. That's also started and actually carried out as a cleaning campaign against the, let's say, supreme or majority community. Now, I know Sri Lankan program is directly derived from Singapore's Keep Sri Lanka Singapore Clean campaign. So it doesn't exactly look at the human element, but we should look at in Singapore as a country. Now, if you look at Singapore is an authoritarian. You can say it's benevolent authoritarian. Still, it's a non-democratic society. And when it started, they used force and non-democratic practices to build Singapore, and in Sri Lanka, where we have strong democratic traditions, more than, I would say, 80 years. So such kind of concept of cleaning is really a supreme or supremacy of the majority, or at least in the for the government looking at the society as a polluted one, is really it has even unintentionally, it has fascist seeds or roots. Now also you have to be careful, because in Sri Lanka, even before independence, people like Sinhala nationalists, people like Anagarika Dharmapala, not only him, but many others use the concept of Arya Sinhala or Arya Sinhalese to highlight or promote Sinhala supremacy against other communities such as Tamils, Muslim, Dutch, and other minorities. And so therefore, even though we don't discuss them in a more open and objective manner, middle class Sinhalese mentality is actually, I would say, racist unconsciously. So we were, from the young age, we were fed with ideas saying Sinhalese community is supreme than or cleaner than other communities. Therefore, it has a lot of implications on nation building and building the Sri Lankan Sinhalese identity. So in such kind of context, when you use something like clean Sri Lanka, cleaning the society, can be interpreted, as I mentioned and highlight again, not by the government or the planners, but people on the ground, or people for their purposes can use them in that way as a to initiate racist and campaigns. So that's the first point. Second point, I mentioned a little bit connected to the first point also. So this one actually, when you say clean Sri Lanka, it's more looking at the past as reference, and it's not futuristic. So in fact, Sri Lanka now in the process of kind of redefining its identity, coming and trying to come out of the economic crisis. So it should look at more futuristic. But unfortunately, Clean Sri Lanka has element of past orientation or reference to the past. Now I say that, for example, if you look at the literal meaning of cleaning, so if you something has been pure or clean before, and then due to some reasons it has been polluted or it has become dirty. So you have to remove dirt and clean. Now also, if you look at this in combination with popular NPP slogan that Sri Lanka has been polluted with dirty politics for last 75 years after independence. And also they also did a campaign to clean parliament by the dirty politicians and corruption and things like that. So now if you go with that argument, now before 75 years, was it clean? Now if you think so, it is actually colonial time. So does NPP mean before 75 or 75 years, before 75 years, Sri Lanka was in a better shape? So then you are justifying a colonial rule. Or else do you think, can we say there was a golden era before, let's say, colonization in some king's time? So that actually is a very common misconception, not only about in Sri Lanka, but in many other countries, that we had a golden era, a shining golden era. Due to recent problems, we had, that golden era or glorified duration is gone. I have seen this is a real problem, or it's a very valid misconception or myth in Sri Lanka. But it's not only here. Like I have seen that in Pakistan, in Spain, and in many countries, Greece, where their current performance or prosperity is not as expected. So they kind of imagine this glorified era or golden era where they feel confident about their past. So now when you say a clean country or cleaner society, that means things have been better before or cleaner before, and then it has been dirty, and then you have to clean. uh, so it's really like based on a kind of myth and based on a non-factorial history or reality. So it's now it's a common issue of Sri Lankans stuck in their past. Now, when I make this point, maybe some people will be also angry because they really believe that there was a historical Sri Lanka or Ceylon or I don't know Serendip, which was much better than today. So that's there are no scientific or historical evidence. It's just in their mind. So this project has that kind of assumption or that baseline in naming as cleaning. So third point is also very connected to that one. Now, my argument is we need nation building, not cleaning it, because now, unlike in the second point I mentioned, uh, we can confidently say Sri Lanka never had capacities. It was never better than today. Of course, we can talk about some uh, current, crisis, which happened due to mismanagement during the recent uh, governments, particularly Gotabaya Rajapaksa's government. So we became, bankrupt nation and things like that. But it doesn't mean that we have been always doing bad and we had very good golden past long ago. So, but even if we had the contemporary challenge in, in current times, they are very complex and there have never been such challenges before. So you need to build capacities, skills to deal with current challenges, which have never been there. So building capacities. Now we talk about in my other topics about how to manage industry for evolvement and things like AI, robotics, and those things, how they affect the societies and how we face them. So there has never been such kind of situation where we were like the winners of facing such socio-economic crisis. So therefore, uh, our focus should be building capacities at all levels, from president to politicians, individuals, society, corporations, government institutions, all these entities, all these at all these levels, focus should be capacity building or skill development. And simply we can say nation building is a priority today than cleaning and trying to remove kind of dirt which are stuck there due to some bad people's action. So we have to actually have projects on nation building, not cleaning. Fourth point, now cleaning actually it can serve some purpose. Now I mentioned the point as non-relevant and non-critical work, cleaning as non-relevant and non-critical work. Now, if you look at even individual level, whether it is your home or whether it is yourself or office or government institutions, cleaning is good. And then we normally do cleaning and annually for New Year, and also it gives you a good feeling like okay, we clean it and now it looks nice. But the question is it critical? Now, can you solve the issues we have, and can we reach our targets? For example, in this project itself, the vision is beautiful island, smiling people. Now, by cleaning, can you reach that target? That's really a question. Now, why I say that it can add some value and it can serve some purpose marginally. However, as I mentioned to you, capacity building is more important to reach those positive targets than just cleaning. Now, in addition to that, now personally, I have visited around 40 countries, and I would say the most, let's say, cleanest country I have been is Finland. But Sri Lanka also ranked very high among all those 40 countries I have visited personally. In addition to that, if you look at global indicators such as World Happiness Index, best countries to live, similar other such indicators, Sri Lanka ranked high actually in World Giving Index, high. So it's not really unclean and unhappy society, even though those things can be improved. So it should not be the priority for the new government because we have more prioritized and urgent critical problems to solve. So I would say cleaning will give you kind of a middle class, good feeling for the middle class, but you cannot solve the problems. We have chronic problems we have in the society to reach our vision. Now, in simple terms, it's like if you have cancer, can you, have several baths and get yourself cured? No, you have to cure the root cause of the cancer by proper treatment than just cleaning. So again, just to summarize, fourth point, cleaning is not critical and it's not very relevant work for the nation building as per the priorities we have now, particularly for a government who has a strong public mandate. Sixth point is lack of focus and poor definition of terminology. Now, that's actually a main issue in the design of the program. When you look at the content of the website and even president's speech, they have kind of clustered everything here, included environmental cleaning, terrorism, corruption, improving ethics of people and values. So it's very difficult to implement because there are many areas that you have to work on and there are no prioritization. And also, since these concepts have not been clearly defined, it's actually there's a very high risk that different communities, different people, different organization will interpret them as they understand. We have already seen that how police has defined cleaning. So therefore, it can really derail the original idea of the planners or designers of this project. Yeah, so that's a basic main issue, poor definition of terms and lack of focus. And of course, you have to allocate resources, and this will also is a big challenge in resource allocation. Sixth point is poor selection of the steering committee. The president actually announced and appointed a task force of 18 members. This has a lot of problems. For example, it's really questionable if these members have real project program management and similar skills because they have been appointed, I think, based on their positions like military chiefs and military chiefs and police, head of police or police IGP. So maybe president may be thinking to have resource mobilization and implementation easiness logistically, but if you look at their backgrounds, they don't really have advanced project management skills than command and control and use authority to get things done. For this kind of program, this is not going to be really useful. In addition to their expertise and knowledge, the other issue is their legitimacy. For example, now Sri Lankan military forces have been accused of war crimes. They're still unsolved problems. Still they're pending and they have cases or pending cases at UN, and we as a country also have to be responsible. So military forces are kind of on that basis, they are unclean. They are not, they have not come clean. So I would say that way. So therefore, first they have to get themselves clean through some credible investigation, and then they can tell others how to do their jobs or how to make country clean. by example. Same with police. According to Transparency International, Sri Lanka police is one of highest corrupted public institution in Sri Lanka. So when they try to implement, IGPs in the list, they try to implement Clean Sri Lanka. This will always be a problem from the public's point of view, because these guys are corrupted and they can use it to earn some, rights and earn some, illegal benefits. So task force is really, I would say, not really useful. They have legitimacy issues. They have skills and capability issues, knowledge issues. 7 is scope is ultra vires. Now, that means now I actually make this argument directly actually against Kumar and the government. Now, when they are talking about changing or defining social values or building moral values of the society, saying that Sri Lankan society has been polluted or dirty. So now the question is, now this government came into power by introducing a political manifesto or campaign political manifesto, and people supported it, that to maybe do improvements in the society. So if you look at this from legal point of view, public citizens, we are the principal. We are their kind of principal, and they are implementing agents or our agents. So can agents question and try to challenge the principal's values because we are corrupted or we are stupid, I don't know, we don't have a lot of, we are dirty, let's say. Now, we appointed you because of that. So we had our own weaknesses. That is why you became the government. So therefore, you can't tell us to be clean. Now, maybe you can't change us to have, values. I don't know what these values are, but it is true that Sri Lankans as a nation, we don't have well-defined values like American values or British values or something like that. But if you want to build values as a Sri Lankan society, I have actually discussed this as a separate topic some years ago. We have to follow a different process, consultative process where government, including Kumar Dissanayake, consult and sit together with the people representative and have a long consultative process to define such values. Now, again, there's another issue. Now, Kumar Dissanayaka's NPP, he himself, JVP, have a lot of allegations against them of lying, manipulation, even old crimes. So they have also not come clean. So therefore, how can they talk about us to have values where their values are not clear and they have not come out of their old, let's say, sins clean. So there is issue of whether this government and the president has legitimacy, legality, and even moral high ground to tell us to be cleaner as a society. I'm not saying that they should not do something and we are perfect, but what I'm saying is there's agency principle issue, and also they should follow a different approach of defining Sri Lankan values if they want, than introducing such a program. Or program cannot do that in a state-centric way. 8th point is non-scientific approach. Now, one major issue with Clean Sri Lanka is it has no literature. So this is not backed by any research, any publications, or any statistics or any data to look at, how to kind of, measure the issue we are handling. What is the problem we are going to solve, or even what measures we can look at and measure, even measure the impact, because there are no data related. Only two reference I mentioned to you is the website, which is very weak website. It's just like a window dressing website, and Anurakumara's talk. So therefore, I would say Clean Sri Lanka is like Anurakumara's kind of brainchild, right? So it has no, research-based backing, but he just came out with this idea, and it is kind of supported and documented by his own staff, maybe public officers or government officers, but it has no real sound scientific background. That is exactly why, for example, I give simple example for you to understand. Now, let's say if they want to reduce traffic accident in Sri Lanka, you have to have a link between traffic accidents, category of vehicles, and the main cause, whether it is driver or people involved in that, or vehicles issues, or the way they drive or the methodology. So, but we just don't see that by cleaning the buses, by removing extra parts, how can they solve a number of traffic accidents? What are the evidences? So that's not very clear. So likewise, the entire program has no scientific or research-based background. Right, sorry for that. 9th point is, this is not an inclusive program. This is actually more divisive program. Now, at the moment, Sri Lanka, just after crisis and after this dictatorial, authoritarian, mismanaged regimes of Rajapakshas, we are in a situation where there's opportunity for unifying this society. In fact, Anurakumara probably for the first time was appointed as everybody's president, including minorities and people beyond urban areas. So he has legitimacy, he has a credibility to implement inclusive program, including a new constitution. So therefore, any program he introduces as national program should have element of inclusiveness, not divisions or create divisions. Now, this Clean Sri Lanka has already created some divisions, but my point is this can create more divisions in the future. Now, already, for example, this bus drivers, transport players versus police, and public versus transport players. So there can be such ground level people can be divided. You saw already this monkey and harvest issue. Again, the activists, animal rights activists and villagers were divided, and they were hating each other. So this government make a serious mistake of introducing or trying to introduce measures and policies and programs which are divisive than inclusive. So that is this is a good example. This Clean Sri Lanka good example for such a divisive program. So it's actually, even though they introduced this with a good intention, politically it's bad for them because they are supposed to galvanize those supports they got from different communities than destroying it. So that's another weakness. 10th weakness is more project management related. Now, in project management, we say any project or any program should have smart objectives. Smart means specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. But if you look at in Sri Lanka, even though there are like 4 loose objectives, they are not really smart. They don't have these elements or criteria. So therefore, it's very difficult to implement and measure. 11th one, again, it's a project management concept. Now, any project or any program you can define by triple constraints. Now, any program can be identified with its time or schedule, cost or budget and scope. So what is the performance? So, but unfortunately, I was struggling to understand for in Sri Lanka how you can identify them, but they are not really written or expressed, or even it's difficult to even quantify. For example, cost allocation or budget or time, nothing are mentioned there. So therefore, it's very difficult to even consider as a program or project because there are no triple constraints. Now, there are many other weaknesses in project management. If you look at project communication, project charter, there are a lot of weaknesses, but I will not go in details. But uh, as a program or as an initiative, this has a lot of weaknesses if you look at this from project management point of view. Final point, 12 point is also about launching. Now, as I mentioned to you, they use top-down approach. On the first day of the new year, Androkumara came to the media, and he stood actually in a platform, nothing in the background, so only he was there. In the TV, we saw he was standing alone and introducing the program in a highly elevated platform. Of course, there were people in front, but when we watch this from the media, we only see Andrew Kumar. So no people, no like a democratic, even sitting arrangement. So what is the problem with that? So that kind of top-down approach, maybe it will indicate some authority. As a president, he launched his project. So it has some authority and execution powers. But when it comes to public, when it is more, when the program should be more consultative, inclusive, people-friendly project, this will distance public because it's a president baby, and we have nothing to do with that. So therefore, not only the public, but even the ministers of the government can think, okay, this is president individual project and it's not ours. So this is a common mistake in many project program implementations. We call this create not found here syndrome. That means people think it's not my program. Uh, I didn't contribute to design it. I didn't initiate it. So therefore, it's not our program. So that will have serious implication on implementation success. This one also we are already experiencing. A lot of good programs in Sri Lanka actually were not able to sustain because this issue. They were not able to engage people from the beginning and use, let's say, we normally call uh, bottom to top approach. We start with people and consult them. Now, tools like design thinking you can use here to people to feel that this is our program. In fact, it's very interesting now after understanding their blunders in this approach. They're trying to recover it, saying that this is not yet started, and President only introduced this as a concept. Now we talk to people and educate, but those kind of damage controls are going to be very costly, and it's not really going to be very effective also because we public saw this as just one way. Even President used some warning, threatening words. If you don't cooperate with the project, and there can be some negative consequences. So such kind of negative threats can also work negatively for the volunteer participation and implementation success. So those are the 12 key critical points I have about the project. Let me repeat as a summary. Name sounds fascist. Second, past-oriented, not futuristic. Third one is building the nation, not the cleaning it is the real challenge. Fourth one, cleaning as a non-relevant and non-critical work. Uh, Fifth one, lack of focus and poor definition of terminology. Sixth one, poor selection of the steering committee. Seventh one, scope is ultra vires or beyond the control, beyond the authority of the implementers or designers. Eighth one is non-scientific approach. Ninth one is not an inclusive but divisive program. 10th one is no smart objectives. 11th is no triple constraints. And the last one is top-down approach. So therefore, My actually assessment or my estimation is that Clean Sri Lanka has a lot of possibility or probability of a failure as a program based on these weaknesses. These are like major critical weaknesses. So therefore, unless they don't recover or rectify them immediately, uh, this program will be a project or initiative, whatever you call it, will be a failure. However, we don't have to worry much about it because, as we know, NPP government is very good in manipulating, statements. So they will say we couldn't do this because some guys were sabotaging and unavoidable circumstances, blah blah blah, and also people will, be happy not to have them. So therefore, it will go to history as like another government bluff. And also, it's difficult to, measure and celebrate success because there are no, as I mentioned you, measurable, quantifiable performance or indicators. So therefore, you can't say it's a failure or success because those are not defined. Uh, but so therefore, you don't have to worry much about than the waste of money and effort and time of doing it. But the main issue is now in the implementation process. Now, due to this lack of clarity and this vagueness of the project and the terms and the scope, there can be misinterpretation by people in different ground level from local government to different communities. So that can create tension in these communities and among public. So that can be a challenge. For example, like as I mentioned to you, if they use cleaning or cleansing against some community, against some groups, against some practices, so that can create tensions in the society. So that's the challenge we have to, or the conflict that we have to pay attention. Other than that, this will be like a nicely term launch product, which we will forget in 1 or 2 years. All right. So as I mentioned to you, I just wanted to give my honest opinions and ideas. Of course, if you are from the government supporters, or even project management expert or any other professional, you are free to give feedback, oppose my ideas, and you know uh, add more suggestions to my analysis. Thank you very much and all the best. And let's build Sri Lanka, not just clean it. Bye.